I reworked the alien in Dead by Daylight. For a long time, my playtime in Dead by Daylight was heavily tied to when my friends were playing. I almost exclusively played Survivor with little interest into playing Killer. And that was until the Alien chapter dropped, with Ellen Ripley and the Xenomorph. As soon as I found out he was added, I spent 5 buckaroos on him and realized why people find the killer role so much fun. At the time, I didn't think much of how the Xenomorph played. I was just excited that he was in the game. But as time went by and my experience of Killer expanded, I came to realize just how flawed the Xenomorph is and how much cooler he could be. So today, I did exactly what I said in the thumbnail and title. Now, before we get into this, I should mention that my goal isn't to necessarily make the alien stronger or weaker. It's just to make the alien feel more like the alien from the films, or comics, or games, or whatever he's been represented in. Now, feel free to comment any other killers you'd like to see reworked in hopes of making them more faithful of an adaptation. And without further ado, let's get into it. Before I do anything, I want to actually address what I think Behavior did right when bringing the Xenomorph into Dead by Daylight. Of course, his model and animations are utterly beautiful, and the tunnels are genuinely one of the coolest additions they've added to a killer's kit. It gives the Xenomorph more information than you'd think, along with giving him decent map traversal and charging his crawler mode faster. Speaking of, crawler mode actually feels pretty strong, with a powerful short projectile used to shoot through short objects and a smaller tear radius to accompany it. Behavior also gave survivors counterplay against the Xenomorph, meaning there's more interactivity between the survivors and the killers. But we'll talk about the turrets here in a little bit, because with all that being said, why doesn't the alien feel like the alien from the movies, games, or comics? Yes, he works, and he definitely has some similarities, but there's a few things off about him that slightly sour the experience. Giving the survivor a way to fight back against the alien is a very fun idea and is very reminiscent of the Alien films and Alien Isolation. The way it was implemented into Dead by Daylight leaves much to be desired. Picking up and moving around the turrets feels incredibly slow and leaves you very vulnerable. If you pick up a turret from the station and immediately place it down, then ultimately you're punished. The alien crawls out of the tunnel, disables the turret for a short time, and gives him time to either commit chase with you in crawler mode or destroy the turret immediately. In order to use them effectively, you need to bring the turrets towards areas you'd play to loop, preferably in an area of the loops that leave you more vulnerable. So, as Survivor, you need to pick up a turret, slowly walk said turret towards a desired loop, place said turret in the loop, leave the loop to do a gen. Hope you can make it to the loop if you get into a chase. And on top of all of that, hope that the alien doesn't see you while you are transporting the turret. Because if they do, they will get a free injure and destroy the turret before you can even place it down. But it isn't much better on the killer side either. When survivors are given time to place the turrets down efficiently, it feels like there's nothing you can do. If you break the turret, they leave the loop and go to a different one. If you ignore it, you'll be kicked out of crawler mode and be stuck as an M1 killer with no power. If they decide to place 2 turrets right next to each other, GG's. You aren't getting the injure, and you aren't staying in crawler mode. It feels absolutely awful. My fix to the turrets would be a complete rework. No longer will survivors need to pick them up, carry them, and then slowly place them down. Instead, we're going full Alien 2 when Ripley burns those eggs. Survivors will now be able to grab and equip a flamethrower, replacing their current item. Flamethrowers are limited in fuel and take a few seconds to equip when you initially equip them from the station. While equipped, you can aim and shoot the Xenomorph with flames, causing them to go out of crawler mode, but also slowing you down slightly when you use it. If the survivor takes damage while wearing it, it's destroyed and they lose a health state like normal. Keep in mind that you are still able to play the game normally while having the flamethrower equipped. You can still throw down pallets, you can still go through windows, you can still hide in lockers, do a generator. Nothing is limited while you are wearing this. It's not only a sick idea, but I think it's also just healthier for both sides. If survivors stare at the killer and shoot, they'll get injured and the alien will be rewarded for landing an early hit, probably with their tail attack. If the survivors play it smart, they dodge, they loop the killer, and then they burn him out of his power and buy themselves more time. For example, let's say you stun the Xenomorph, or you vault through a window and they miss their tail attack, or maybe they just miss their tail attack in general, then you can turn around, maybe shoot some flames at them, kick them out of crawler mode, and continue running away. That way the alien is punished for missing and you are rewarded for dodging. But on the other spectrum, if you play dumb, you stand still, you try to shoot, or if the killer lands an early hit, then things go as normal. And ultimately, it comes down to who plays the situation better. Also, while we're lightly on the topic of crawler mode, let's add some more functionality to it to make the alien more alien. As it stands, crawler mode is fine, but it could be a lot cooler. For starters, I think on top of crouching, the alien should be able to crawl along surfaces like walls and ceilings. Now you might be asking how this would look in first person, but honestly, I don't think it has to be anything too complicated. I imagine we would just have the camera be stationary and it wouldn't actually turn along with the body to avoid it being sickening. On top of crawling, I think a small pounce could also be awesome. It can be pretty simple. The pounce can be charged and on hit the alien takes a health stack. If the alien causes them to get down, a small animation plays where the alien pounces on top of the survivor and stands up with them in their hands. This can maybe replace the tail attack mode if the alien is crawling along a wall or ceiling. Now just imagine, as survivor, looking up to the ceiling in Larry's and just seeing the xenomorph pounce down on top of you from the ceiling. It'd be horrifying, and it would be so cool. It would also make looping the alien a little more interesting since he could assumably just climb over certain loops. But if you have the flamethrower, you could punish the alien for trying to be too bold and knock him out of his power. And let's also say if the xenomorph is flamed out of crawler mode while he's on a wall or ceiling, he falls down and has a small recovery animation, giving survivors ample time to run away. Oh, and have the alien hiss when he's charging the pounce, just because it's cool and a little scary. Maybe give him a little drool too. Finally, and this one's pretty simple, I think the xenomorph should have a little bit of undetectable when coming out of his portals, maybe similar to Springtrap, maybe somewhere between 10 to 20 seconds, I don't know, we could just PTB it. But considering how much got changed to his kit, we also now need to look at the add-ons and how they'll be changed. The current alien add-ons are fine, but only really a couple of them stand out, and almost every alien you run into will be running one or two of the same add-on. If you play the alien, you know which ones I'm talking about. It's the one that makes the turrets useless. Without further ado, let's go over these add-ons. Cereal Rations, Rework. Charge the pounce 10% faster. Ripley's Watch, Rework. Display a line showing the pounce's destination. Brett's Cap, Rework. Survivors suffer from the Oblivious status effect for 15 seconds when equipping a flamethrower. Lambert's Star Map, Rework. Reduce the recovery time when being knocked out of crawler mode when attached to a surface by 20%. Light Wand, Rework. Increase the time it takes for survivors to refill a flamethrower by 15%. Molted Skin, Rework. After equipping a flamethrower, survivors suffer from a 3% hindered and exhausted status effect for 5 seconds. Self-Destruct Bolt, Buff. Increase the vaulting speed while in crawler mode by 50% because screw you, I love this add-on. It got a hard hit with diminishing returns, and I beg Behavior to remove vaulting from diminishing returns. Please remove it. I miss my goofy vault build. Sorry. Behavior already did a great job at building the foundations of a great killer. I just think that the xenomorph deserves a little more to be truly terrifying. I want this thing to hunt the survivors and to really feel like a different species. If you have any other killer you'd like me to redesign, please let me know down in the comments. Please be a like, share the video if you enjoyed it. And yeah, the video's over. Bye-bye!